So it is almost midnight, exactly a week before Shadow Generations releases, and I've been busy with so much shit, and I have yet to talk about any of the news that has come out since the beginning of summer, and the game is a week away. So let's finally talk about all that stuff. In case you somehow haven't seen any of what I'm about to talk about, there was a Sonic Central that was quite truly shadow dropped out of nowhere for September 2024. They literally just shadow dropped one for September. They literally shadow dropped it completely out of the shadows. Just, oh, I see what you guys did there. And not only that, but I never ended up making a video on the Doom Powers trailer that released around Games Fest for Shadow Generations. I was gonna make a discussion video on it, but just didn't have the time to, evidently. As you can see, my content release has been dire since the semester starting and before it, so like, I'm sorry. I had so much more video plans for the summer, but that didn't happen. But since I didn't talk about that, now there's so much more to talk about in so little time, since it comes out in a week. Better late than never. This is truly what I am known for. So with the Doom Powers trailer from Games Fest, the story trailer from the Sonic Central, and literally all of the Dark Beginnings animation episodes already coming out, along with some new stuff from the State of Play, some gameplay footage that just got dropped in between here and there. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Again, in such short amount of time. And I want to talk about it right now. It's a need, it's a crave, it's a desire. And it only comes out in 1 week? Are you joking? It feels like such a long amount of time to wait, but at the same time, it's literally so close. It's literally so close, especially for the Digital Deluxe owners, myself included. So, but the overall hype cycle for Shadow Generations has just been absolutely incredible. I've really enjoyed it, and we're already at the end of it. It's already here, and we're about to play this masterpiece of a game. And yes, I'm saying that out confidently because I have never been this confident in a Sonic game performing well, and it's not even for Sonic, it's for Shadow, dude. We still don't even know to the fullest extent of how much changes were made to the original Sonic Generations, but bro, it doesn't even matter anymore. Everyone's buying this game for Shadow, and we all thought it was gonna be some small Bowser's Fury-esque side mode in terms of its length and how much content it would have, but they literally made a brand new Shadow game, just straight up made Shadow 2 and tagged along Sonic Generations as just a cute little bonus. And how did they get away with this? I'm gonna first talk about the actual game before the Dark Beginnings prologue, because again, I've got a lot to say on the footage we've been constantly being fed. It came out in such rapid fire succession, and honestly, this has to be one of the best marketing cycles a Sonic game has had. And again, it's not even for Sonic, it's for Shadow the Goathog. So since I never did talk about the Doom Powers trailer, I'm gonna kind of combine that trailer with the story trailer and talk about both, especially since I feel like I can't talk about one without the other. They kind of have two different aspects to it that one of the trailer would be missing from the other. Especially since we went from thinking that Shadow Gens would be, you know, substantially shorter in length from Sonic Generations, to now knowing that the game is just as long, perhaps just a little bit less, or even a little bit more. So I don't know, who knows at this point. I guess anything's possible since fucking Mephiles is back. You know what, Sega? I'll buy the game a second time. I'll buy the game a third time. I'll buy it as many times as I need in order to prove to you to continue giving Sonic Team a bigger budget to make banger games like Frontiers and Shadow Gens. Please let them keep cooking. I think it's safe to assume that the very early skepticism of, oh no guys, this game looks like it's gonna be another Sonic Forces, I think we can leave that in the past for good, which, you know, it doesn't really help that I'm bringing it up right now, but I was never really known for making good decisions. I mean, I'm making this video right now and planning on playing Shadow Gens when it comes out 3 days early, instead of, you know, studying for midterms. So clearly I've got my priorities in check and I'm the best candidate for the job. Vote for me. I don't even know where to begin with all of the new information that we have about the game, along with the still the things that we don't know and can be theorizing about. And I know we are currently in the week of where Shadow Generations is being leaked online right now, and some people are giving spoiler warnings, a good amount of people aren't, but I do know some people have unfortunately been spoiled by whenever the leaks have popped up on their feed. I somehow have barely slid past it, but no worries, there's no spoilers in this. But the most important thing to me is, of course, the gameplay, which it looks so goddamn good, dude. Not only did they bring back way more stages for Shadow Generations than we initially thought, but they're all such banger choices in my opinion. Space Colony Arc from Adventure 2/Shadows 05 game, Radical Highway from Adventure 2, Bullet Station from Heroes, Kingdom Valley from 06, Sunset Heights from Forces, and fucking Chaos Island from Frontiers, dude. How? This game was literally made alongside the development of Frontiers and the DLC, and we're already getting substantial representation of Frontiers in other Sonic games. I mean, I guess aside from Sage being in the Murder of Sonic. So, as Frontiers' biggest fan, keep feeding me, baby. I'm a glutton. I'm literally listening to the Chaos Island remix as I'm reading off of my notes right now. And you don't know how happy I was that we did end up getting a Forces level. I was holding out hope for it, and I'm kind of still holding out hope for an infinite boss fight. Again, haven't seen the leaks, but I'm holding out hope for him. And Sunset Heights looks radically different than the Force game. Like, bro, how did you turn this stage into what it should have been? But while the representation for the stage choices are one thing, we do have to talk about the fact that these stages are on average like 5 minutes long, or at least from the 2 stages that we've seen in full length, being Space Colony Arc Act 1 and Kingdom Valley Act 1. I don't think we've seen a full run through of an Act 2 stage, but the Act 1s are fully 3D, so it's safe to assume that the Act 2s might be fully 2D in these little gameplay segments, or maybe a mix of both, who knows. And the actual level design, oh my god, dude, the pathways, the branching pathways, they have got to be some of the best since Unleashed, or at least definitely since the original Sonic Generations. The alternate routes seem to have a good balance to the point where it's not bursting out of the seams, which would, by doing so, make decision making more difficult, but it's also not too few routes to the point where you would lose stimulation, you know? There's a good blend of open areas for you to choose a route, and more linear segments for going fast, or taking a quick breather while you watch a spectacle moment. And the alternate routes do offer incentives with rewards in the level, like more rings for boosting and stuff like that. But of course, they offer as time skip shortcuts, especially when using the new Doom powers. The 5 Doom powers in the game, that being Spear, Blast, Morph, Wing, and Surf, I gotta say, they all look kind of fire. They look kind of fun to control. I know people would be worried for another gimmick like the Wisp from Colors that, you know, would be a pace breaker, but honestly, these Doom powers, even though I haven't played them as yet, they don't seem like that at all. If anything, I would more likely compare them to the Emerald powers from Superstars, but again, the Doom powers are far and away their own thing to be a unique gimmick to Shadow Gens. Not only could you go the entire game without needing to use a Doom power, or well, at least that's what they said in an interview, but there's many incentives to use them. Firstly, they're actually fast and fun to use. These Doom powers expand even more routes for Shadow to take. Like, in this example, there's a slower route being optional in Radical Highway if you don't have the Doom Wings. But if you do, you can just fly over the entire part of that stage. Or you could use a Doom Blast to knock away an enemy and then immediately Chaos Control over to them, again, accessing a new route or skipping part of the stage. And again, they don't break Shadow's speed or act as a pace breaker. You can still boost while using the wings, you can still throw the Doom Spears while in the air or on the ground, you can move fast while using the Surf or using the Morph. They prioritize moving fast and finding these shortcuts, and honestly, I'm so excited to find them myself. And the second reason to get these powers is to, of course, explore the brand new open zone white space. I still can't believe we're getting a brand new open zone too soon. Like, I'm here, dude. Oh my god, what? I didn't. Okay. It's going to be so amazing unlocking more and more and more of this open zone and finding these challenge stages, which, just like the base Sonic Generations, they changed the day or nighttime skybox, which I always thought was a nice touch. And oh my god, the story, dude, the story. Shadow is going to interact and meet up with Maria for the first time in years, thanks to this white space being all distorted thanks to the time meter and Black Doom kind of, I guess, tag teaming together almost. And dude, they're going to make Sonic Movie 3 DLC for the game. How? This is literally the most perfect outcome we could have gotten, along with the other skins for the characters like Teriosa or the Legacy skins, and all the special editions and bonus items for this game like Gerald's Journal. There's just so much love being put into this game, especially of course for Shadow. And that leads us into how amazing the Dark Beginnings was to watch. Okay, like, to be fair, I think it was set in stone ever since episode 1, or hell, even since the initial teaser, that this was gonna be the best piece of animated Sonic media ever. And now with all 3 episodes out, like, dude, it doesn't even come close. I didn't know what to expect from the Dark Beginnings because they set a really high bar to fulfill when showing off the Gizoid in their first clip. And yeah, I think they absolutely delivered the emotional roller coaster that they were setting up. Of course, my only gripe, and say it with me now, is that it's just a little too short. I mean, all things considered, it's not a short series by any means, especially since we're comparing it to the other animated Sonic series that are, you know, made as prequels or promotions to these new Sonic games. And of course, it is always nice to have, you know, weekly episode drops to keep you in the loop, to keep you hyped, wanting more, and I do want more. This show was just so good beyond any other animated Sonic show, or even the full big budget ones and longer length shows, that I can't just help but to want more of it, or to want longer episodes. We've come a long way from the 2-minute episodes of Sonic Mania Adventures and Team Sonic Racing Overdrive with silent protagonists and these cute little scenes, and we now have full-fledged voice acting and fight scenes out the wazoo. Like, dude, you can't not look at this without being in awe of how badass it is. From Shadow fighting Emerald to Team Dark fighting the Eggpawns in the Pyramid Base area from SA2, and Shadow absolutely soloing this gun soldier as well, using Chaos Control to stop all the missiles and catching one in his own hand to throw it back at the gun soldier, to then only teleport and chase up to him to catch it again and spike it onto the dude. Are you kidding me? Oh, Sonic fans are too hard to please. Nah man, this shit hits so good. Quite truly, it's the definition of peak Sonic content. And the beautiful dichotomy of Shadow going all out with his glowing red eyes and yellow electricity from the Sonic movie, to the more slower and somber moments that beautifully depict his relationship with Maria and how much he cherished those interactions. And I do have to give a special shout out to the continuity of this miniseries, because A, it remembered that the moon is quite literally half blown up, B, it remembers the gun commander finally, Abraham Tower, and his distaste for Shadow, but eventually, you know, confiding in him for defeating Black Doom, well, for the first time. C, again, we already know about this, but his fight with Emerald on the Ark. But what about this crazy scene of Shadow chasing down Gerald, about to be shot by the firing squad, and then to get a vision of Black Doom as he sees Maria being shot again? And the last and most important piece of this continuity, Rouge is the one who invites Shadow to Sonic's birthday party. Like, come on now, that's the most important part of the story. And speaking of Shadow and Maria, see, that's the episode name of the first episode. I'm really clever. I really did want to tear up at the mere interactions that they share with each other, with Shadow always knocking himself down as just being some disgusting creature, but, you know, Maria always reassuring him, you know how long people have waited to see more detailed events of what things were like for Maria and Shadow on the Ark? And when he does finally take the spacecraft up to the Ark, you know, setting up the events for Shadow Generations, we get hit with these beautiful memories of Shadow and Maria together. And the way that Shadow says, "Stop it," to his own flashback emotions.
Stop that. That life was taken from me long ago.
I did finally tear up to that. I never knew that I wanted to hear Shadow in such distraught. Especially since, on top of that, the song that was sung by Casey Lee Williams, which I love her voice from Ruby soundtrack, if you know, you know. But she gave a great performance to the song titled Without You, which, that kind of puts more things into perspective. That moment has to be a top moment for Shadow, and how he has to deal with these anxiety-ish esque flashbacks and all these types of feelings, that he's going to the Ark and meeting up with Maria in white space for the first time since regaining all of his memories back, and they're literally going to break Shadow and his emotions in this game. And I couldn't be more excited and ready to cry with him. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to talk about this, and you know, right at the tail end of this game's release, and again, I can't believe we're gonna play it so soon, especially since there's still a lot that we don't know as yet, and I'm so ready to find out. Like, why is Shadow on Chaos Island in the first place? I'm still gonna keep on asking that until I figure that out.